Welcome back, FA Nation. Hey, this is what happens on NBA trade deadline day. Internet bandwidth, not ideal. So, Mr. Grande, we're going over the plethora of injuries, and with Miami having players in transit before we start going over your DFS NBA playbook, which is live on fantasyalarm.com as we speak. Just want to go over that the Heat will have 9 players available tonight, including Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Trevor Ariza, Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and then Andre Iguodala and Precious Achiuwa will also be there as well. So that's 9, so they're good to go. So, Grande, anything else that we need to know at this point before we dive into your playbook?
Not much. Just we're going to continue to monitor news as we always will and always have. And 7:30 lock tonight, not 7 p.m. Eastern, 7:30. So the extra half hour to get everything you need to all sorted out.
Yeah, and you're going to need it. So
you're going to need it.
Think of it as a 30-minute bonus because this has been a crazy day, as we know, with the NBA trade deadline. So let's go over this 5-game slate. We'll start with the point guard spot here. Who are you thinking if you're paying up tonight? I mean, you got Russell Westbrook there, but then you've got a few players in that value tier as well. And like I keep saying, with it being NBA trade deadline day, we can take advantage of a lot of value, Grande. So I got to ask you, man, Westbrook being 10-9 and 11-1, is he a core enough play, or are you going to pivot to another point guard and spend the higher prices elsewhere?
So it's something I was talking to John about the other day, and the Knicks defense has been really good, really, really good. We can go there. Do I think he's going to be this bad again? No. But him and both Bradley Beal were this bad. The Knicks defense can stymie people, but I don't think they can stymie guys like Westbrook and Beal 2 games in a row. I mean, we're talking about Bradley Beal, who leads the league in scoring. We're talking about Russell Westbrook, who, for someone who has been long considered inefficient, has shot 42% or more or better in 9 straight games. 7 of 9 been over 50%. So the efficiency has started to come around for Westbrook more this year, which is not something we're accustomed to talking about with Russell Westbrook. So I think you can go back to the well fantasy. I mean, we know he's a walking triple-double on any given night and any given matchup. I just don't know if it is a priority. Like you mentioned that word. Is it a priority? I love to see the ownership the way it is. Like, you can get a star that has 70-point upside at less than 20% ownership on a smaller slate. It's something that you should at least consider. But guys like De'Aaron Fox stand out to me. It is a back-to-back. I think that's something to caution. Luke Walton can get crazy at times, but they just traded Corey Joseph last night, so there's not any reprieve for De'Aaron Fox. There's going to be another 40 minutes on the horizon tonight. So I think Fox is in a really good spot. The ownership projections suggest it. I want to go back to the well with Ben Simmons. I know the big game is coming. We saw what the Lakers product looks like without LeBron and Davis the other day. And it was against the Pelicans, Fancy. They got torched. Brandon Ingram, Zion, NAW, Josh Hart had 15 rebounds. Like, anybody can torch this Lakers defense when it's not anchored by LeBron and Anthony Davis. Let's face it. Like, I don't know.
Kyle Kuzma is no threat.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you guys have heard, but those two are pretty significant pieces to the puzzle here. So I want to go back to the well with Ben Simmons. I think he's going to pop. We finally get the scoring. We don't get the ancillary stats, just 4 assists, 8 rebounds, right? We know Ben Simmons can triple-double like that. And if we get the 22 points with it, I mean, we're talking about a big game. But I think, Fensty, and I shouldn't say I think, I know the ownership is going to go towards 1, Jordan Poole, and 2, Kendrick Nunn, in no specific order. You mentioned there's no Jimmy Butler. There's no Goran Dragic. There's no Steph Curry. Now there's possibly no Draymond Green. Jordan Poole continues to score. Kendrick Nunn just scored 25 the other last time out without Dragic. And now there's no Butler. I mean, what more do we need? So as much as I like these high-priced guys, if you're on FanDuel, you're like, well, I don't really need them, because I can get 2 guys for under $6,500 that are going to go, that potentially have 6, 7, 8x return. Kendrick Nunn, On DraftKings, Fensty, $4,600.
You're really ruining De'Aaron Fox for me, man. But you're 100%.
I love him.
But like, it's why even pay up for him? Why? You just rattled off 5 freaking guys that, like Kendrick Nunn. Why? Why should that even come to mind? Why should I spend 50% more on De'Aaron Fox? Safety? No, none gets that. There are 9 active players.
And look, to your point, I love De'Aaron Fox, and what he's been doing lately is tremendous. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's consistently giving us 45-plus fantasy points, and he's cheaper on DraftKings than he was yesterday, and he scored 37 actual points.
Sub 9K, I'll eat that up all day, bro.
The good thing is you can play 2-point guards on FanDuel. The good thing is on DraftKings, you could play 1, 2, 3 point guards if you want. So you can play all these guys.
Including, by the way, Tyrese Halliburton.
Including Tyrese Halliburton, by the way. Who I do have listed as shooting guard, but,
Right, but DraftKings going to give us a little bit of leash, then we're going to take it. We're going to play it, right?
Completely agree. So you can play De'Aaron Fox. Not saying he's not a good play. Just great value on today's slate.
So let's talk about some of the other shooting guards here. We mentioned Halliburton. I mean, you get away with that for cheap on both sites, but who else do you like at shooting guards? In my starting 5, he's in your playbook. Andrew Wiggins sitting there at 68, 67. I see your face, Grande. I know you're not that excited, man.
No, I mean, look.
You gave the I'm not that excited, but it's Sacramento, and I know Steph Curry. The usage bump over 5%, and boom.
I mean, let's face it. Andrew Wiggins, as a whole, is nowhere close to what we thought he would be. We got the LeBron comparisons, right? Anytime you start getting LeBron comparisons out of college or out of high school, out of college, you really, I know it's tough. So
dude, let's stop right there. Jahlil Okafor was said to be the next Tim Duncan. Okay,
fair. Hey, still got a chance. Look, Andrew Wiggins was great for 2 games without Stephen Curry, and then the 3rd game, Fensty, he ran into Ben Simmons. And you know what? That's okay if you don't do well against Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons can guard everybody. And
he's the self-proclaimed best defensive player in the NBA.
And listen, he's proven it, man. He is locking down some very good scores. And you know what? Wiggins has been that without Stephen Curry, and you mentioned it spot on with the usage percent. He's up to 28.5% when Steph Curry's off the floor.
He's safe, bro. He's safe. I said in the video, he's safe.
I like, so where my head's at, I love Wiggins. I love Halliburton. I love Tyler Hero at 54, 52 respectively on DraftKings and FanDuel.
I just want to interject. I'm just going to throw this there. We're not going to be loving him much more. I'll tell you that much.
Well, we have that. Going forward, correct. For this evening, absolutely. All aboard the Hero train. And I love seeing CJ McCollum's ownership where it was. 2 points I'd like to make. 1, 38 minutes last time out. 2nd, 19 shot attempts. And now we're getting a Miami defense sans Jimmy Butler. Please, CJ, 38 minutes again, 19 shot attempts again. You will not go 5 for 19. Yes, Mr. Fensterman.
No Gary Trent or Rodney Hood as well.
We could see that. We could see the minutes projection even higher. I mean, I think you can safely put McCollum's minutes at 36 tonight, and I honestly take the over 36, to be perfectly honest. But so that's really where I'm sitting. You can go Beal if you want. I think you're not that crazy. You're talking about a guy averaging 32 points per game on the year. The actual points. He can score against anybody. RJ Barrett on the other end, defensively, can cause problems. I don't love that. There is no Reggie Bullock. Maybe that benefits Beal a little bit. And then PG-13, it's a price point thing. He hasn't been great. Can San Antonio keep this game close? I don't know. I'd rather play McCollum, Wiggins, Halliburton, Hero.
I'm with you there. Let's move on. You mentioned RJ Barrett. He's in my starting 5 video on fantasyalarm.com at that small forward spot. And that's where you can beat the Wizards, who have also, by the way, have some players in transit as well. Something to keep in mind. Also, like you mentioned, Reggie Bullock out, so that's going to give Barrett. I mean, Barrett's playing 40 minutes regardless. Knicks are up big. He's still playing, 39 minutes in this matchup? I mean, come on, man. Tips going to continue to use him heavily. It's the Wizards. It's a great price point. He's the Knicks' second option. I mean, come on, man. All aboard this train tonight.
Thibs actually checked his starters back in. If you were watching that game against Washington, his second unit played like crap. And about 4 minutes left, he said, all right, up 20 starters, get back in there. And he gave him another 3 minutes just probably to prove to that unit, prove a point like, hey, if you don't try, you're not playing even though you should be in a 20-point game. And that's just the type of crap that almost partially slipped.
Check swing, strike.
But yeah, I do like RJ Barrett quite a bit, all formats. And if again, another guy that's projected to go low owned, but why? He gives us 30 plus every night. If you feel better about using him in cash games, that's fine. I think there's a very intriguing tournament pivot, Fensty. Now that we know there's a questionable Draymond Green, I think Kelly Oubre kind of steps into the forefront of options. And, I think everyone's going to focus on Poole. And I put this in the playbook, Poole, Wiggins, Draymond before this news, and even to an extent, James Wiseman, who's going to be starting going forward.
Right.
Oubre went for a double-double, 20-point double-double and 45 DraftKings points. Now, didn't get traded, has to feel better about that. An elite matchup. 24th in defense against small forwards for the Kings. Even worse against power forwards if that's where Oubre ends up playing, because you never know if Draymond sits. Maybe they go small. Never know. But I do think Oubre is a very intriguing option. Golden State's going to be popular. If you want to be different with who you're using on that team, it's Kelly Oubre for sure.
Oubre's going to also say this. This is my own little personal wild narrative here. Oubre was in trade rumors, according to reports. Steve Kerr comes out and says not only is he not, but he's a, quote, coveted player. I think Oubre is going to be playing with some sauce behind him tonight, and it's in the perfect matchup that sets up for it. Yep. So you think that more people will be focused on Wiggins for cheaper on FanDuel than Oubre?
100%. I think that Wiggins profiles as like the guy, and like you mentioned, the usage rate suggests it. The first two performances without Curry suggested it, but then he gets locked up by a good defender, and look what happens. It's the Oubre show. So as much as I think that Jordan Poole and Wiggins, I think they're great plays. I just think if you want to be different and use guys from Golden State, Kelly Oubre is the way to be different.
Yes. So let's move on. By the way, you have Trevor Ariza as well.
Love Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be – it's almost like think of the equivalent of an innings eater with a little bit more production. He's going to play the minutes his defense is needed. You can count on him for some peripheral stats like steals. So with that, I feel like that's going to be in his favor. Very cheap. We're talking $3,100 on DraftKings, 44
Yeah, that's crazy.
On FanDuel. But this is how we benefit when we play DFS after the storm that was the trade deadline from earlier.
100%.
By the way, John and Pemba updating the live blog for the NBA trades that happened throughout the day, fantasyalarm.com. Go there and check out all the activity that's gone on around the National Basketball Association. But for now, let's move on, James, to the power forward position, because looking at bigs, you and I were both in sync when it came to Draymond Green, but now might not play. So where are we looking now?
I mean, I definitely think Julius Randle is probably going to be the top spend up of the slate. I do think Westbrook should be in consideration because the upside he possesses with the triple doubles. But I mean, how can you can't just overlook 37 actual points. I do agree. We're not going to just see Julius Randle hit 7 threes again. And we're not going to see Julius Randle hit 4 on 4 straight possessions like that. Talk about a heat check. Like, that's a heat check of all heat checks. When you come down and you hit that 4th in a row, I mean, that's just, you're feeling it. But I do think there's some regression in the rebounding categories. We only saw 4. And the assist categories, we only saw 2. I would like to point out, though, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. I know Elf Payton only played 20 minutes, but Randall's assists drastically dropped when Elf Payton returns. Something to monitor. Then again, wasn't really passing a lot because he was making everything he shot, right? I mean, he took 23 shots. He was making everything. But But I do think that Randall still, with Elf Payton, I mean, he's averaging 6 assists on the year. He's still a triple-double threat. We know he's almost a shoo-in for double-double on most nights. So I think he's the top spend. I think Tobias Harris is extremely safe. We already mentioned it. The Lakers really are going to struggle defensively without LeBron and Davis. Yes, they are getting Marc Gasol back, a diminished version of Marc Gasol, who once was the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and he's only playing 15 to 20 minutes, and he's been out for conditioning with COVID. So, like, can he even play 15 minutes, and will he have that right? So they're going to really suffer. I think Tobias Harris is elite. I mean, 48 fantasy points per game over his last 5 is pretty tremendous for a guy still at 8,400. And then Fancy, the Morris brothers, okay? I said it to you last night before the stream. Marcus Morris, still cheap. His price decreased on DraftKings. It was 5,000 last night. It's 4,800. And what did he do? 20 points again. Like, he goes for 20 actual, 27 fantasy. The dude just is good. Like, he's just good. Can we just say that? He's just good.
Let me put it to you this way. So Adam Ronis and I have gotten into an argument on how I was doing the starting 5. I was going with a lot more dart throws than I should have been. Today, I was not feeling power forward. I went with Draymond Green. Next in line, Marcus Morris. I tried convincing myself. Now it's more exciting to me with Draymond Green questionable. Like you said, he's been scoring. If you could, you know what? Let's keep the expectations low. 4 rebounds. That's all we need. 4 rebounds and a block or a steal to go along with the scoring against the Spurs. Absolutely, man. I like it. Good call in the playbook, dude.
I mean, 4 of the last 5, he's put up 27 or more fantasy points, which currently at 4.8, 5K, you're exceeding 5x value for a less than exciting position, might I add. I don't like this position. I also think his brother's in play. But like I mentioned in the playbook, I'm interested to see if Gasol does factor in at all. I don't know if it will. I know they started Kakok or Kakik, however you pronounce that dude's name. They started him at center last time out. He didn't play a lot, but like it didn't impact Markieff at all. So it's just something to note that he is going to play. Again, will it impact Markieff Morris? I don't think so, but again, just something to note.
All right, we don't have to waste much time on this. If you want to pay up for Bam, you're paying up for Bam and you're playing Bam.
You should pay.
I was hoping before Butler was ruled out and Dragic, I was hoping for the 5x return. I was thinking we were going to get it then. I set it in the starting 5. Now, lock it in, 6 to 7x on this price point. $8,000 on both sites, Grande. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Fancy. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, go for it. Go.
I think that Bam is the best point per dollar play of the slate. And I don't think that's like me going out on a limb. I think he is the person that you need in your lineups tonight. Like if you gun in my head, if someone's like, I need one guy tonight, I'm going Bam Adebayo.
$8,000. That's all you're paying for him on a 5-game slate.
That's stupid.
With half the lineup out. So let's not spend any more time. We're just wasting everybody's time at this point. Yeah. If you don't want to go Bam, who is one or two other centers? Because you're going to go Bam. But let's say you don't want to go Bam, but you're going Bam. Who do we pivot to?
Well, at least on FanDuel, right, he's a power forward. So that actually benefits the FanDuel players because it's such a sucky position and now Draymond's out. Like, that just helps you guys. Like, congrats on gaining Bam Adebayo, star of the show tonight. I mean, Rashawn Holmes is in a great spot. Golden State 29th in rebounding. I think Rashawn Holmes stands out to me. He's only once in his last 10, he hasn't put up 30 fantasy points. And I know 8K, we're not looking for 30, but we know there's a floor for Rashawn Holmes, and the floor is pretty safe. Vika Zubac has been tremendous. Again, just give the guy minutes. He will produce. He will give you 30 fantasy points. I'm shocked to see Dwight Howard's ownership where it is. And I really want to take advantage of that. Dude, they traded Tony Bradley and Vincent Poirier today. They don't have any big men except Dwight Howard tonight. And I said...
Wait. You've gone over every center in your playbook. You're not giving this final one out, though.
Okay.
You've listed every center. So if you want to go and see the final center that is in a great spot tonight, in a great matchup, you're going to fantasyalarm.com. You can give James a follow at _real_grande. You can give me a follow at Fensty Sports. Derrick Rose, by the way, has been ruled out. We've been waiting on that, finally ruled out. TJ Warren, any Pacers fan watching, I'm sorry, out for the rest of the season. So those months became the rest of the season, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. James, crazy day, man. The world turned upside down, but it's always great to go through the battle with you, my friend.
Yeah, go us.
Go us. We always dominate. No other option. We just win.